listen to Ethan, he thinks nobody ought to go to prison. I happen to think violent criminals belong in prison, people who are a danger to society. I happen to believe that Bernie Madoff deserves going to prison.
Me too.
And
Me too.
it was a violent crime. And I think that whenever you have a drug trafficker that is bringing in tons of cocaine or marijuana that's poisoning our youth, I think they ought to go to jail. But having said that, I agree totally that Arkansas was right in saying we want to make sure we're studying and assessing and determining whether we're sending the right ones to prison or not. And certainly someone who's a simple possession case or has an addiction problem, they're nonviolent, let's look at an alternative to incarceration. Absolutely. I believe that. And whenever you look at the Right on Crime initiative that I have supported, and it's conservatives that from Bill Bennett to Newt Gingrich to myself that say it's right for us to, and I'm former head of the DEA, but Texas, for example, took that initiative and said instead of spending billions on new prison facilities, we're going to put that money in alternatives to incarceration and rehabilitation efforts and after programs that will help reduce crime in Texas. It did reduce crime. It saved the taxpayers money, and it was the right thing to do. So that's the direction we can go as a country. And so we're really in agreement on that. If there's unfairness in the system, let's fix it. But while we're fixing the system, let's don't demolish what we're doing right in it and send and go down a path that we will regret for a long time. Whenever you look at the direction that we're going as a country, I think that we did in the past make some unfair judgment when it comes to drugs. For example, for a while, Congress said if you had a drug conviction, you could not get a Pell Grant and go to school on an educational level. That was wrong. We singled that out, and it was wrong, and we remedied that. I have a particular case in which a person was convicted 30 years ago of marijuana, and he's denied entry into our country. I think that's wrong, and I think Congress needs to remedy that. And so there's always injustices that we need to fix, but let's don't change the right direction that we're going that will destroy a generation.
I think he appreciates that I am an enthusiastic advocate of putting murderers and vicious criminals and the Madoffs of the world behind bars. I think that's where they deserve. And I think there's a lot of nonviolent criminals doing a lot of extortion and theft and hurting a lot of people. You know, I believe in the basic biblical notions of punishing those people who murder and rape and steal and what have you. But I can't find that prohibition on marijuana in the Bible. I can't find it in the Hammurabi Code, for that matter, and I can't find some of these other things either. So I'll tell you, here's my basic view about how we deal with drugs. I think there's a principle that applies across the board to all drugs. I would say, and I do believe, and I hope many of you agree, that nobody should go to prison. Nobody should lose their freedom simply for what you put into your body if you don't have anything else. Call that drug, but nobody goes to prison simply for what you put in here. Get behind the wheel of a car, put your co-workers in danger in the workplace, beat up your children, do other sorts of predatory crimes. Yes, you deserve to be punished, and don't tell me your addiction is some sort of excuse. But when it comes to how we regulate this stuff, because I am not comfortable saying treat methamphetamine and cocaine like alcohol or cigarettes, what I would say there is marijuana, yes, tax, control, and regulate it like alcohol. But for those people who are most addicted, for those people who want to stop and cannot, for those people who are determined to get their drugs, whether they're legal or illegal, I would say allow them to get it from legally licensed, medically administered sources. We've seen in Europe and Canada now 7 or 8 countries that allow heroin addicts to come to a clinic and get the pharmaceutical heroin there, and the results published in all the top medical and scientific journals have been spectacular in terms of reducing disease and crime and those problems. That's the way we move in the right direction.
an addiction problem and you're nonviolent, if you're a simple user, I would agree you should not go to prison. We are in agreement on that point. There's not any issue here on that point. But I do believe that marijuana is a harmful substance, and I think that you understand that marijuana is a harmful substance. If you, okay, so if you don't agree with that, but we can't even, we're not going to go anywhere in our discussion if you don't accept that proposition. But if you believe that it is a harmful substance, as the American Medical Association believes, then it becomes a longer debate as to if it's harmful. Should we keep it illegal? And if we keep it illegal, you've got to be able to have investigations, and you've got to have laws against the traffickers of a substance that is illegal, we've determined it's wrong for America. And so yes, I think the DEA does the right thing in going after a drug trafficking organization from California that's bringing methamphetamine here. I think they're doing the right thing by putting somebody in jail who's selling marijuana close to a schoolyard. I think they're doing the right thing by putting people in jail who's trafficking in cocaine. These are harmful substances, and you might not punish the user. We might not put them in prison. We might put them in a rehab program. But I think the trafficker, we still have to have incarceration for.